All right, guys, we're back in Texas for another podcast with a few points from Perfect, and I've switched. It's been a rotating table today.
Right.
So we got Jeff with Muddy Feet Concrete Pumping. First off, thanks for having us in Texas.
Man, it's great to have y'all here.
Now, could you turn the heat up, please?
Well, eventually. I'll wait till we have some time when we're not having to work.
All I heard about this last 2 weeks is we're going to Texas. It's winter back home. We're going
Right.
to Texas. It's going to be nice. We're going to take shorts. We're going to...
It looked great until about 7 days ago.
Yeah.
And then the Weather Channel app started turning. I'm going,
Yeah.
uh-oh.
Yeah. So we left about 40-degree weather to drive 600 miles south to pump concrete in 30-degree weather.
Right. And that's Texas for you.
And I'm pretty sure, I'll give you credit on one thing. I think your 30 is colder than our 30 back home.
Well, when you throw in the humidity, it changes temperatures. I mean, whether it's 98 degrees and 80% humidity, or it's 35 degrees and 80% humidity.
Right.
It amplifies everything.
I was making fun of all the Texas folks down here in their big old heavy coats in this 40-degree weather. I'm like, sissies. And then I was the one out there freezing my butt off.
I'm telling you, the coldest I've ever been was probably 45 degrees, and not a lot of layers on.
Right,
it.
right,
And
yeah.
I'm just like going, I'm about to freeze to death.
Whenever you underestimate the coldness.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
all right, so just kind of starting off a little bit. This is our first time meeting in person.
Sure.
Hung out a little bit last night, some today on the job site. So I personally don't even know a whole lot about you. I know the basics of your story.
Right.
So who is Jeff, and how did Jeff come to be, and how did Jeff end up where he is today?
Well, and that's a big answer.
Right, and you can go as far back or start as far forward as you want. But I guess the first question is, did you grow up in this area?
We did, or I did. I grew up 65 miles to the
In this area would be the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area.
right, and we were on the far outskirts of
North side.
Nocona, Texas.
Right.
So it's an hour and a half to get to Dallas proper, hour and 15 minutes to get to Denton, where I reside now.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, when you live in a small town of 2,500 people, going to town is coming to Denton or Wichita Falls.
Right.
It's not going to Nocona.
Right.
So,
right.
If you want to go clothes shopping and all that stuff, there are some stuff there. But to get some deep, nice stuff or a pair of Levi's,
Right.
then you went to town.
Right. Yeah, and it's so funny because even back home, we say the same thing. We're going to town, and you make a list and you go to town,
Right.
once or twice a week, and that's it.
No grocery store.
Yeah, yeah.
And what got me to Denton here is I married a girl from Gainesville. She liked to have the closeness of the stores, the Target,
Right.
things like that. Well,
So you're trying to say she likes to spend money or your money? Because that's the way my wife is.
I don't have to worry about getting too much in an account.
See, the problem is I'm like, all right, we live out in town. She can't spend my money, and then Amazon come around.
Well, and it wasn't a couple of videos ago. I was sitting there, I was thinking to myself, I got an alert that your package has been shipped. What in the hell have I ordered now?
I know. About I don't know, it's probably about a year ago now, we got a joint Amazon account. Now I get all the emails.
Oh, no.
Oh, we got a problem.
Yeah, no, and that's something I learned right off the bat. And I had some good guys that give me some great advice, and one of them is separate accounts.
Yeah.
Do not do joint accounts, and because she hides her little stuff over here, I hide my little stuff over here, and we're happy.
Yeah. Hey, it's whatever works.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we're in. So now you're in. I guess you graduated high school. Did you go any farther in education than?
No, some trade schools I went to, but the best schooling I got was either in FFA in high school. We had an ag teacher who was awesome
Right.
at showing life skills.
Right.
Some of the stuff I learned there I still use today.
Right.
And then I went to work out of high school, and you'll see Matt in some of my videos, some pumping videos, and some of the Muddy Feet TV videos for Matt's dad, who was a jack of all trades and master of quite a few.
Gotcha.
Doing construction around Nocona, the St. Joe Munster area.
Now, is this like home construction, commercial construction, road construction?
When you're in a small town, it's everything.
It's a little bit of everything.
We went one day. We may have a tar pot fired up and be on top of a roof, hot mopping one end. The next day, we may be laying bricks. I'm mixing mortar and all this stuff. And then 2 days later, we're helping this old German man up in Munster pouring house slabs.
Gotcha.
I mean, you never. you had an idea what you
So
did the next day.
construction was construction. It didn't
You
matter.
did everything. There's now there's obviously there's trades. There's always been trades, but when you're in a small town, if you want to stay busy,
That was a Pepsi, by the way.
right? There's a blue can though. You want to stay busy, then you learn everything,
Right.
and you do it. So we learn everything. Matt and I seem to be more drawn towards the concrete.
Okay.
We like the
So
pace.
so out of high school, you kind of went and started in construction.
Right.
Now, was that like, so like I said, I don't know you. So like in high school, was that what you thought? Hey, I'm gonna go in the construction field, or did you strive to be something else?
No, I was going to get my certifications in these trades, and I'm gone.
So you're ready for the trades.
Going to the trades.
That was your plan.
Yep. Just going to do that and take care of things, and that was it. I would never, I needed some part-time work because
Right.
my mom gave me a choice. She got tired of me staying in bed up until 9 o'clock in the morning. So she's like, well, if you're going to be at the house and not work, then there's flower beds that need to be cleaned out. Yard needs to be mowed and all this.
Earn your keep.
Exactly. Well, I didn't mind mowing flower beds. I couldn't stand. And I knew of Matt, but I'd never really visited with him, met him formally, and just kind
Right.
of talked. And a friend of mine introduced me to Matt. Said, hey, you need to talk to Matt if you want a job. That they're usually hiring somebody. So I talked to Matt, and I honestly said, I'll kiss your feet if I can get a job to keep me out of those damn flower beds. So it just took from there.
Gotcha. So I guess you're out of high school now, or have you met your wife at this point?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay. So you're
Absolutely
So
not.
you're late teenage years. You're cleaning out
Just
flowers.
young and dumb, and just money's what money we made.
No responsibility.
Got paid Friday. It's probably gone Tuesday. Just enough to buy a burrito at RB's and things like that, and a Dr. Pepper to get you through till Friday.
Gotcha.
That's how it was. I made my own pickup payment,
Right.
things like that, and I did put a little money back because I knew I was going to need some while I was at school. My parents helped me through school, but they wanted me to do something too.
Right. Right.
So I put money back for a little bit for that. But for most part, I'm wild and free.
So you're I guess you're working with Matt now. So is this a full-time construction job?
Yes, it was a full-time deal. I'm the helper.
Right.
But you can either be a helper or you can start learning.
Right.
Probably the first year and a half, I was a helper. Okay. Sometime during that first year and a half, I did go to a trade school for a few months. I came back, realized it was harder than I thought to get a job. So at that point, I'm still working, but you're maturing a little bit.
This would be the early 2000s,
No, this would be 90.
late 90s.
I graduated in 93.
Okay.
So we're talking about 94, 95, 96 and that.
Yeah, which is a
vicinity.
totally different environment we live in today, where it's hard to find help. Back then, help was plentiful.
Yes. And,
So you had to do something to stand out.
Right. So, probably around 95, 96, I realized this. I may need to pay attention here. And I started, I could finish concrete at the time. I knew how to, obviously I can run a shovel. We were digging
Right.
a lot of footings and rebar and all that stuff. So, but, learning really the trade, how to finish concrete, how do you figure these jobs? The square foot, what does sand cost? What does rebar cost? Concrete, and then labor, putting things together as a business.
Well, that's a good point, because there's so much more to a business or a job site than what meets the eye.
Oh, absolutely.
And a lot of times doing the work is the easy part.
Yes,
It
is. But, I started putting that together mentally of what I needed to learn and what was going on.
Making notes in your head.
Yeah, and the thing was, when I knew Jay was a bricklayer, I was thinking, cool, we're going to brick a house. I've never bricked a house. That'd be awesome. Within a day and a half, I'm going, I hope I don't see another damn brick in my life.
No, I've been down that road.
On my end, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Because I've got Jay, who's the bricklayer. Matt is the bricklayer's helper.
Right.
And then, so I'm the little guy on
You're
the
the
bottom
guy, yeah,
that's
you're-
going mixing mud. And they're
Mortar
hollering
boy.
mud, and they want to get mud. And then they go, any bricks? So I got the brick dolly, and I'm bringing brick. I'm going, oh, well, I need a helper. Yeah. And I'm the helper.
And you're always the guy they're waiting on. They're not happy about it.
Exactly. And the job we did, I'm not going to say pick, but we did. Well, it was one of those that these people had to have black dye mortar.
Oh, So there's a whole other step.
So you're mixing mud, you're sitting there and you're mixing up, getting it good, and you're getting the consistency you want. Then you grab this little bag about this big.
Yep.
And it's windy this day, obviously. And you're on the side that the wind's blowing towards. So you rip open this bag of black dye, dump it, shaking it all in, dump it.
Wearing half of it.
Yeah, you do. You come home and you see the whites of your eyes.
Yeah.
And your clothes are trashed, you're trashed. And
Well, the obvious solution is you just stand upwind.
it would be, but the
not that
machine
easy.
dumped towards this way. And,
I
guess
just,
if I had
I
any
just wanted to be a
sense-
YouTube commenter for a second, Jeff.
I guess if I had any sense, I would have just grabbed the tongue of the mortar mixer and spun it around. But that just didn't seem like an option at the time.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that was great. And we went from that to I finally landed a job
Okay,
that I needed.
gotcha.
World's perfect. I'm gonna make all this money. Don't need to do anything else.
Gotcha. So you got the world by the tail at this point.
It's awesome. I'm single. I've got the job I've always wanted, and I'm rocking along. Well, I've got with the job, I get some time off. So I'm sitting there, and all my buddies are working.
Whenever I get time off, I'm dangerous.
Well, that's the problem. You get a little money, and the academies are popping up everywhere, and they're running sales on these guns and these shells and everything else. And next thing I'm going, dadgum, I need to make some more money. I want this four-wheeler over here. And what was natural to me, and actually, I'm, and you can ask my wife now, I'm not one to be able to just sit still for a couple of days. If it's raining outside, I'm pacing.
I get that 100%. My wife said the same thing about me. That's why it's hard for me to do family vacation. They want to go sit on the beach and stare at the water. I can't do it. I'm sitting there thinking about all the things I need to be doing, could be doing, baking like a lobster. It's like, you call this fun?
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I love spending time with my family, but I'd almost rather be working.
Well, you left the heat and the sand to go to the heat and the sand.
It's
Only thing is, you're not sitting in the sand in the back of your dump truck.
No,
you're sitting on the beach.
yeah, and my shovel's plastic instead of steel, but
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I get it with that, but no, I mean, I'm sitting there with all this, time in hand. I got to do something.
So basically, you got a job with like a swing shift. So you work so many days, you're off so many days. So you got time to kill.
Right.
It's not just the weekend.
And nobody to kill it with.
Right.
Now the weekends are great.
Right.
But as far as during the week, so my dad asked me, said, "Hey, we got some slabs. Will you come help us finish?" Okay, yeah, I love.
Which is the guy
concrete.
you're working construction with before.
Right. So I eased myself back in and started pouring concrete with them. I wouldn't really go to the setups and stuff like that.
You'd show up on pour day, do your thing.
Pour, do my thing, and be done. And then next thing you know, I bought my own trowel machine, bought my own tools. I can go up about $50 more a day. I was doing it for like $150. I could show up and finish concrete and go home.
Right.
Well, now that I got my own tools, I can charge another $50. Okay. So I started doing that, and then Matt and I and another guy ended up thinking that we could do things better.
Gotcha.
And
Which I think's the mindset of every good business owner.
Right. And we just, we're thinking, we're just getting a different mindset than what Jay had going on.
Now, at this time, these pads, are these a lot of house pads? Or are you still doing commercial work and street work and a little bit of everything? Or
it's mainly just house slabs, flat work,
and
things like
just
that.
to throw this in there a little bit, where I come from, Southern Indiana, slab houses are around, but they're not the norm. I mean, down here, that's what it is.
Right. We don't have the temperatures y'all have. I guess the frost lines and things like that.
And your ground's a lot different.
It is. Our groundwater is a lot shallower.
Right.
So you don't see it. Very seldom do you see basements.
Well, and it's even flatter down here, so it's not like you can naturally drain a basement out somewhere. You're pumping everything, and you're fighting a high water table. So
exactly.
It's just not as feasible foundation.
So, what y'all would have, and I'm just throwing 2,400 square feet. It might be in 2 stories or with all that. Well, 2,400 square feet here's
Just flat out.
Single story, all that. So, but yeah, we kind of broke off.
Gotcha.
From Jay, and this is around the 2000s era.
So you're working your full-time job.
Full-time job.
You're working with Matt. That's his name.
Now
Right?
I entered this partnership.
Okay.
And I got to laughing about Wade the other day. I was watching y'all's podcast with Wade talking about these ships at sink. And one of them being a partnership.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could really
He never
go.
would tell me what the other one is.
I'm assuming it's just the ship.
I'm thinking it's the submarine. I don't know.
But, you know.
I was afraid to ask Wade because we'd be sidetracked for 20 minutes.
Well, and I think you could probably just go to Matt and Willis, and us three would, I think we would have the same answer. Is it worked? We made it work.
Right.
A lot because we had to.
Yeah,
I had no family. I had no wife. I had nothing. Matt's got a wife and a couple of kids. Willis has got a wife and 3 kids.
So this is a three-way
It's a
partnership.
3-way partnership, and we call him Willis Mike. He is, I'm guessing, 10 years older than me. I'm the youngest of the 3. Matt's just a year or so older than me. So, you know, Willis is the older one. So we've got the old wise one over here.
Right.
And you got Matt, who's just, at the time, just hell on wheels.
Right.
You know, he's bidding my way, the highway. Just hard nosed, and he was the right man for that job. Me, I was more kind of with the crew, kind of doing my thing,
Doing logistics and getting the job done.
But we all worked. I mean, we all 3, you know, was on a shovel, tying rebar. We always kept a couple of guys who were out of high school, didn't have anything
Right.
to do. We
Grunt
always
help.
had that.
Right.
But you know, everybody's was pretty equal on the work. But I was still going to go do this other job, and then I'd come back and I would just do my best to pull my weight while I was there. Or it may be a Saturday, they don't want to work.
Right,
We
so
got a
you-
job site needs to be cleaned up. I was like, you know what, guys, I was
Make up for lost time.
yeah, I'll take care of Saturday. You know, y'all work all this week. I'll go handle that, and I would go do that.
Yeah, what you haven't heard this podcast at this point, but I was in a partnership in the business in the construction industry for a little over 10 years, and we did a very in-depth podcast with my business partner, and we talked. It was a lot the same. You know, we're still good friends today, and it worked, but that's about where the success ended. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
It's difficult. I wouldn't discourage anybody from doing it, but it's just like anything new in the beginning. It's new, exciting, and you have the world by, you know, you're gonna be rich,
Yeah.
and then reality kicks in, and
Well, and I seem, and it might have been a maturity thing looking back, but I seemed to wanted to do something with our money that was sitting there.
right,
Mike was the one that would say, "No, we can't spend that. It may rain one day."
right,
You know, but I'm going, man, land is cheap right now. Cattle, let's diverse this stuff. Let's get it, you know, let's get some other stuff
Yep.
going with our money. And he held tight to his guns. I didn't buck him. I just left it alone. And you know, to this day, I don't know if either one of us had the wrong answer.
Right.
But I just wanted to see something with our money being done besides just sitting in an account waiting for a rainy day.
and ultimately, that's not your decision. It's just partially your decision.
Yes.
So you're a business owner, but you're still being led around a little bit.
Right. And it got to a point that where what I was calling my full-time job was taking away from me and the partnership.
Gotcha.
Either I was tired when I was at work the next day with them. I just couldn't give the effort that I need to be given, things like that. And I kind of sensed that it might have been stressing the relationship some.
Right.
And at some point, I'm pretty sure it was mutual, but we just said, you know what, I'm backing out.
I think that's an important point to bring up, that to pull the plug before the ship sinks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because I still consider, even though I haven't seen Mike in several years, I still consider him a friend.
But if you see him at the grocery store, you don't avoid him and go to the next aisle.
absolutely
You walk
not.
right up to him
No.
and say, "Hey, how you been?" Which is a big deal.
And of course, Matt and I are around each other a lot still.
Right.
We still do a lot of things together and still enjoy being around each other a lot. So
I think that's just called being an adult. You know, being able to make those decisions and see the writing on the wall and doing what's best for you and the business at the same
Right.
time.
And I would still go help them pour some stuff if I was able to. And there was some stuff they would pat. You know, I was like, look, I still want to do some things. So, you know, if y'all get a patio or a sidewalk or something that I can do by myself and y'all don't want to mess with, send it to me.
So did they basically just buy you out then?
Essentially,
Okay.
I left the trial machine and a few things. They wrote me a check and I just, you know.
So they're still doing their thing. Jeff's off on his new adventure again.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Still doing the construction stuff, you know. And of course, as I'm doing my own thing, I start getting into other stuff that people aren't messing with. At the time, there wasn't anybody building any metal shops or buildings around there.
Okay.
All right, so
you've seen a need.
I see an opportunity. I can pour my own foundations. They'll help me pour them if I do it, And then I've got some other friends now that they can help me erect the buildings, and we start working with that angle. And it seems to be doing pretty decent. I'm staying busy, staying booked up for, I'm going to say, a two-man crew, because by then my partner, Andy, comes on. And I say partner, he was just looking for something to do.
Gotcha.
And we just went to work together. He had a welder, I had a welder. I mean, we just...
So you went from the construction business with two partners to a steel business with one partner.
But I guess Andy and I... It really wasn't a part. It was me.
Gotcha.
He more or less just worked.
So he was a heavily invested employee.
Basically,
Gotcha.
He wanted me to be successful because he had something to do. But it was my name.
So he was working for a job.
It was my name being thrown out there.
Gotcha.
As far as that went. But we're sitting there.
And he was the guy whenever you were unavailable due to your other duties. He was able to keep you going.
Right.
Gotcha.
And he actually worked at the same place also.
Gotcha.
So we got the same time off together.
Gotcha. And he understood the other lifestyle.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. So we're rocking along there. And Andy's a big guy at this time. I'm talking 6'4", 6'5", 370. This is not someone you want 12 foot up
On a step ladder. So you're trying to nicely say he was a great ground guy.
Oh my gosh. But as strong as an ox. I mean, so at this time I'm getting married. We're, she's going to move out to the farm. I had a farm out there and all that. He ends up breaking up with his high school sweetheart. And so he kind of helped put her through law school.
Oh boy.
And she pretty much gets the end of law school. And, Andy's not so appealing anymore. And so that breaks up. And then that's when he basically moved to Nocona.
Okay.
And he's got a travel trailer. He brings it out to the farm. He's parked next to the barn dominium that I built. We're living in, and we're working together, and everything's cool. And then he starts sowing some wild oats. He starts lifting a lot more weights, and he starts losing some weight, And so
how long of time span has transpired? I mean, you guys been working together for a year, 2 years?
Yeah,
somewhere in
something like that, a couple of years. But my dad showed me how to play a guitar, and in high school I was in a couple of bands, and it was always kind of fun, but nothing serious. And then, Andy wanted to learn how to play guitar, so I started showing Andy how to play guitar, and he had a decent raspy kind of voice, so he started kind of singing. So Andy's singing all, and I've got my guitar. We're just sitting around basically like if you had one, we're just sitting around here, and he's singing. I'm not going to sing a bit, and I guess somehow his kind of fixing to be XX hears it, and she basically said, "Oh, I'll kiss your ass on Main Street if y'all would play a live gig." and obviously you don't know me, but a lot of the good people do. I love challenges.
Yeah, I think we're a lot like that. There's a lot like there.
I see a challenge, So I don't know about how big Main Street is in Derby. It's not real big in Nocona, but she didn't specify what town.
I was getting ready to say. I didn't say what town.
So we pick us up. We point us out. Like I said, I've been in a couple little garage bands, to say the least, in the past. I said, we'll pick us out 10 songs, and we'll work on those 10 songs. Well, we also been making these. Texas country got big at the time. Of these Texas country music artists.
Gotcha.
So we started hitting these festivals and our travel trailers and all our other guys party and all that stuff. And then this kind of come along, and then my wife kind of is the same way of, y'all, come on, guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, so
it's time to grow up.
Well, as a joke, we had a guy that did screen printing. So, and I've got this awesome footprint. So we take my 9-toed footprint.
I was going to say, you can explain why you have this awesome footprint.
Right. Well, that's another story. But so we take this 9-toed footprint, and when I was growing up, I was always getting my ass chewed out for having muddy feet in the house. So we formed a band, Muddy Feet.
Really?
So
I just see, I got this vision of this white T-shirt with just like muddy footprints on it. And that is the shirt. But you actually had a screen
it's
for
essentially
that.
I mean, without the concrete pumping. So we get 30 of these shirts printed up, and we go to this music festival. It's called the Larry Joe Taylor Music Festival, which is, I don't know, there's probably 50,000 people at this place or
That's
better.
quite a few.
And we're throwing T-shirts out. and every now and then we go, hey, you heard of those guys? I go, yeah, I've seen those guys.
If your wife's anything like me, she's hiding over the corner going, I do not know them.
I don't think she knew that was going on.
Probably best for both of you.
And so the thing is, the actual band was not formed before the T-shirts. We had never played a gig. Now we could sing around a campfire. Yeah. But we had sold more T-shirts than we had made money playing before we was even a band. So now we're in a corner.
And this is basically all, I mean, it's not a joke, but it is a joke all at the same time.
You're right, exactly. So we're sitting there, and we're thinking, and we're starting to paint ourselves in this corner.
Yeah.
You know, we got all these shirts out. Everybody loves them. The 9-toe footprint, Muddy Feet. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we got to play.
It's time to pony up.
Yeah. So Matt's got a fireworks stand at Lake Dakota. He pulls in this flatbed gooseneck trailer. We take our 10 songs, and there's 3 of us.
So who's the third one?
The third one's another guy named Jason Shelby.
Okay.
And
another friend, I guess?
Another friend, and we called him the utility player. He really couldn't play much, but he would try his damnedest if we asked him to. And it didn't matter if it was a mandolin or a bass. He would try. And it was great. So we get on this trailer at the fireworks stand, and we play 10 songs. And they loved it.
Really?
And we're going, this was horrible.
So were you the most surprised one out of the group that it was actually a success?
I really was. Andy is you know, he's a kind of a showboater type guy.
Right.
He's just
just got the personality.
He's just got the presence of, you know, and he's really good at what he did. He was really good as a front man. And he could sing pretty good, and just with the persona that he kind of carried, it was just it worked. You know, and what got us far, we weren't musicians.
Right.
We're not
right.
musicians.
You just a couple buddies having a good time.
Exactly. But what carried us along is we wore a clean shirt, and we were respectful and nice to everybody.
Right.
That's what carried us.
Which that's a life lesson in itself.
It is, and that's how we carried that deal.
And you didn't expect anything from anybody.
No, but a year later.
So the band's together for a year?
No. Hold on.
Oh, it gets good.
A year later, we've got a sound system.
Oh,
we've got a drummer.
Maybe we should switch places and let you take over here.
Oh no, we got a drummer. We've got an actual bass player. We got Jason off of that gig. We stuck him with a mandolin, and
He's not the guy you let play in the corner but never plugged his instrument into the soundboard, is he?
Well, and there's this little story about that. But no, actually, we let him. We give him a little volume, a little fill in, you know, kind of like a piano would do or something. So we're booking gigs. We're playing 45, 50 songs. We've got 5 that we wrote. And
this thing's catching some steam.
And my wife's over there going, oh my God. I'm pouring concrete. I get home, take a shower, throw on a pearl snap, hook on the van trailer, and I'm going to the bars.
Now, did you guys have any kids at this time?
Yes.
Oh.
I had a toddler.
So this is not helping your home situation.
Well, you know, I could come home, give her a couple $100 cash from the weekend, and just give it to her.
Hold you over a little bit.
That bought some time. But, you know, it got to a point where Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, maybe occasional Sunday, maybe 2 gigs in one day. I mean, we're on a road trip here. I mean, it got to the point of, you know, what we're going to do.
I'm going to be honest with you for a second. Whenever we sat down to do this podcast, I said, I don't know Jeff at all. In my wildest dreams, I never would have ever guessed that you were in a traveling successful road band.
Well, you know, I didn't know I made it big until I was given a VIP pass.
Oh.
And I told my wife, I said, hey, you know, we're opening up for a band called Cooter Graw, who's got a pretty good head of steam themselves. I mean, they got a lot of stuff on the radio. I mean, they're a damn
legit.
good band.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a real deal for Texas country. So I said, hey, we're opening up for them. Are you coming up there? She said, oh, I don't mind. I go, I need to know so I can get you a VIP pass. And it sounded like somebody pulled the parking brakes on my 18-wheeler. I'm going, I'm serious. If you want to see me at this deal, I got to get you a pass. Yeah. Because you got to be shitting me. I said, I'm just telling you. And we got a merch booth now, too. We're selling, that's a concrete, but we're selling koozies. We're selling T-shirts. We're selling fitted T-shirts for the ladies. And we're selling thong underwear with my feet prints on the front.
Oh, boy.
I mean, we're big time now. I mean, we're some merchandising dudes. It just, I don't know. It just morphed into something that was a lot of fun. We had access to people that could help us.
Right.
We weren't that good, But
well, sometimes some of the best singers aren't the best singers; they're the best personalities.
People just liked us,
Yeah.
But back to Jason and his deal. So we're at the fireworks stand. This is year number 3, our third time to play the fireworks stand. So I don't know if you call it 3 years, but it is our third time to play the 4th of July fireworks.
So you're back to where it all started again.
Yeah. So Matt would have us out every 4th of July after the first gig. And that was just kind of the deal. After the main fireworks show went off, then everybody go back to his fireworks stand. We would play. Matt would take these 2x12s and screw PVC pipe to them.
Yep.
Put cannon fuse all the way down them, and he'd set off like 12 of those mortar shells.
Yep.
And just do it all night. I mean, he's wasting everything they just sold.
Yeah. See, something you probably don't know about me is I actually shot fireworks professionally for 7 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
Yeah, it was an experience. We'll talk about that on their podcast.
Get to that later.
I got some stories.
So we're sitting there. Well, he's playing along. We're all playing, and we're getting through all the good stuff, and everybody's getting kind of rowdy and all that. Well, Andy's brother Philip shows up. We need some effect. We got some lights and stuff going on, but we don't have any smoke.
Right.
So Philip takes the biggest 2 baddest smoke bombs that Matt produces. He lights both of them and throws them under the gooseneck trailer. We got 2 gooseneck trailers now too.
Oh yes, we doubled our stage
We
size.
doubled the stage. So these dudes go off. You can't see nobody. It was like Spinal Tap. We're wandering around trying to figure out where everybody is, if we're going to fall off the trailer or not. And this is going off. Somehow Jason breaks a guitar string in the middle of this. So Jason's over there doing his deal, trying to get his string together. And we kick off another song that's got some kind of long, and I played lead guitar.
Right.
So I'm playing lead guitar, just getting loud and going on with it. Well, I really wasn't a showman. I mean, I might step up there and do my little deal, and then kind of back off, tap my pedal some, and calm back down, whatever.
Right.
Well, so I'm doing my lead, and it's a pretty groovy one, getting after it. Well, Jason walks over beside me, throws his foot up on the monitor, and just starts banging his head, just rocking his guitar out. No string, and it's not plugged in. So we get through with that set, and everybody's going, dude, who's the new guitar player y'all got? Damn it, Jason. But anyway, it come to a point that, are we going to raise families? Are we going to, play gig, be a cover band for the? It come to a point
Right.
that, again, where are we at? What do we got to do? Well,
Now, are you still doing construction during?
still doing
So
construction?
you got your full-time job,
Full-time job,
part-time construction job, and hobby band,
wife and kid,
and
at
wife
home.
and kids.
Yes, kids. At home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And one thing neither one of us can change is there's only 24 hours in a day.
that's it. What gets in my way is sleep.
Yeah.
But you got to have it.
That's good.
You got to have it.
Kind of a necessary evil. So what the band go on for, 3 years?
Probably so. Probably so. The bass player, he was actually in high school. He had to go to college. You know, so that kind of peeled us off. We hired another one, but just never really had that chemistry with him. He's a great guy, great player. He's well above us.
Yeah.
But we kind of lost the chemistry and lost the thing. And then
probably start losing a little interest.
when we got kids,
Yep.
you know, it's
And the older they
coming home
get,
smelling like cigarette smoke. You open your guitar cases up. I mean, I had a 40 by 50 shop. You know, I'd open 3 guitar cases and put the sound in there, and this smelled like the bar. The whole shop would.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it got to the point, and then we moved to town. The wife and I did.
Gotcha.
Bought this house that needed some work done to it, which I wasn't scared of work, and especially concrete work. It had drainage issues and things like that, so I can fix that.
Right.
So the house was discounted pretty decent for the drainage issues. So Andy and I get over there, and we start working on the back patios. Bust it out, start fixing the drains and all that stuff. Well, we got to have a trailer pump to do this. So we're sitting there. I call a buddy of mine. So, hey, I need a trailer pump. I've never used one before. He said, okay, I'll give you a number. So I call them. Well, they're 3 or 4 days out. So we're sitting there. I schedule them. They come. They pump their 7 yards of concrete. I pay them $650, and they leave. Okay. Well, I've had pumps before, but that's just the price of the game.
Right.
So now that section was poured, that was the retaining wall. So now I got to do the actual patio in between the house and the retaining wall that kept the hill back in the drainage. So I called Sean again. Said, hey, you got another number? He said, yeah. Usually, try these guys here. I think they'll make you a little better price. Cool. These guys show up. Same gig. 75 feet of hose, 8 yards of concrete. Just in the same $650.
Right.
And they're not there 2 hours.
You're thinking that is some pretty easy money right there.
I look at Andy and I go, we can do this. So I get on the internet. I find a couple of people. Sean puts me in touch with a man named Tim Wade, who is a broker here, equipment broker, concrete broker, things like that. And I call him, tell him what I want. He said, yeah, sure, come to my office. I want, let's see what you want to do. He comes in. It was an interview.
Really?
I'm serious. I honestly think that if I didn't say the right things, he wasn't going to sell me a trailer pump.
Really?
I honestly think that.
Why would he have that approach?
I think one is his reputation.
Gotcha.
He
didn't want to put somebody out there that couldn't do it.
Exactly. And they are finicky, But I already had the concrete background.
Right.
So he knew I had the work ethic.
Right.
And things like that. And
even though you didn't operate one, you've been exposed to it.
I have been exposed to it. So, yeah, it went from there. He finds us one out in Phoenix.
Now, is this a new pump, used pump?
This is a used pump.
So this is a used trailer pump.
Used trailer pump. Andy and I knew what we were doing, so we went ahead and bought a 1-ton here with a flatbed, got that situated. We flew out to Phoenix and picked up the pump. And Tim bought the whole setup.
So I'm gonna ask a novice question here. So when you buy a trailer pump, is there like in a boom truck, there's 30 meters, 39 meters. So in a trailer pump, do you have 400 feet, 500 feet?
No, well,
how do they size them?
They basically size them by the yards per hour.
Okay.
So, and thankfully, Tim put me onto a swing. It was the BPA 500.
So is that 500 yards an hour?
No, that's not 500 yards an hour. It was really
like,
actually right about 45 yards an hour. So, that was my first time. I mean, he could have put me in a lot of different pieces of equipment, but the first thing was a swing trailer pump. And I will, until someone can prove me different, I will put the swing trailer pumps against anybody's any day of the week.
Gotcha.
I mean, I honestly think that's the best
So
trailer pump.
from what little bit I know about a 45 yard per hour pump, that's a pretty potent trailer pump.
It's a pretty good one, but just like our boom pumps, you're not going to get 45.
That's if you have trucks concrete dumping, the right mix, the right conditions, right.
And I've done it 13 years now, and honestly, the best I've ever done is somewhere between 25 and 30 yards an hour.
Right.
That's just the realistic part of it.
Right.
By the time you slump your truck or you take a hose off or move hoses around, I mean, everything else.
Well, on a trailer pump, you get slowed down so much more because you're manually moving the hose. With a boom pump, you're not. So, all right. So I'm getting us off subject here. So we are now proud owners of this pump.
We are. All we know how to do is turn the key and start it.
Well, that's a good start.
That's all we know. And so Tim showed us a few things, and you know, and if you haven't been around a pump before, if you shift one with it empty, it's loud
Yep.
and intimidating. And, you know, he said, all right, well, here's your throttle. You get this up here. Here's this switch here. That's your hydraulic oil fan. Kick it on. All right, and here's your go button. Here's the forward button. So you flip it, and that thing shifts, and it just whoa.
Well, it's the what's the knuckle back there?
Well, that's the ball. Or that's the ball. The rock valve.
Rock valve, yeah.
On it.
Yeah,
On the swings, it's the rock valve. On everybody else, it's actually called an S tube.
S tube, but yeah, between the strokes changing and the S tube switching, it's
It's
and the
violent.
concrete muffles that a lot whenever it's in there. Yeah,
But when there's nothing in there,
Yeah.
it's violent.
Yeah.
You don't want anything in there that shouldn't be in
Yeah.
there. So, you know, that was kind of intimidating. Well, so we got the trailer pump, we got the 1-ton, we got some hoses and stuff, and we go to Bill's house, brother-in-law Bill. He needs a patio.
No better guy to experiment on.
Bill sells beer, and he's got plenty of it. So
That's what we're working for today, I'm guessing.
right. So I set up this little patio. It's a pretty easy gig. 75 feet of hose. We pull around by the backyard and alley, lay the hoses out. You know, we got some pointers from Tim. You know, make sure you get a trailer pump mix. You want this 50-50 mix, which is 50% rock, 50% sand,
Yep.
and then the rest is made up with water weight and cement.
Yeah, because a trailer pump hose is smaller diameter.
It is.
And you got less horsepower.
It is.
So you got to they're a little bit more finicky about what goes into them.
They are. And you know, if you don't have the right mix, then you got a long day with a hammer.
And then you do what they call rock up.
Yep. You start packing and stuff.
Yep.
So and it's a bad day.
Yep.
And
Not that I would know from experience or anything.
well, and if you do know from experience, then you know that it's always the pump's fault. If it can't get the concrete through the
90%
hoses.
of the time, I'm the guy pouring the concrete, and damn good and well it's the pump's fault. I sure as hell didn't do anything wrong.
So, you know, that's part of it. You know, there's something wrong with your pump. Well, the first year you pump, you believe them.
Well, yeah, I can see
God
that.
dang, I don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what you're doing.
You don't have the experience to tell yourself otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, you see there's mud coming out you. You told them a 50-50 mix.
Yeah.
You know, here we go. So we line up. We start pumping Bill's patio. Pumped the first truck. It went smooth. Oh, this is going to be good. This is just like I predicted. But we needed a tag load. It's July.
Hot.
And I ordered from a buddy's concrete plant that's 45 minutes away. We start at 10 o'clock in the morning. So by 12:30, the next truck's pulling up.
Yep.
Not really knowing what's going on
I've seen a few of those nervous concrete or pump truck drivers before.
Yeah. See, he pulls up, and we've been kind of circling thinking, well, we're getting borderline, but I think we're okay. So Andy's going to run the pump for a little bit. I ran it first. Now Andy's going to run it, and I'm also still screaming.
Now, are you and Andy's partners in this pump?
We are partners now.
Okay.
50-50 partners.
50-50 partners.
50-50 partners.
So you
on
and
the
Andy
pump.
are officially in business
We
together.
are. We flew out to Phoenix together, picked it up, and tag teamed the drive home, and we're in partners. So he's running the pump now. I got the hose. My oldest stepson's behind me holding the hose, and all of a sudden the hose just stops.
Oh, that's not good.
You hear the pump kind of bogged down a little, and thought, what's going on here? Nothing. So Andy reversed pump a couple times, and Sean was there. He's like, "Yeah, it's got some dry stuff. Just break it up. It'll pump through." Well, we're sitting there. Andy turns the throttle up a little more because we need a little more juice here. So he turns the throttle up a little more. I've got the hose in my hand.
Oh, no.
He hits the go switch,
Oh, boy.
and it bogs down. You hear it, and it just got this great big old self just boiled up and just boom, broke loose.
It's, yeah.
When it did, Bill had a 2-story house. The neighbor had a 2-story house.
Did you clear them?
we blew mud on top of the Bill's house. We're lucky to blow the windows out of Bill's house, the back patio and stuff. This thing cuts loose. It just takes off, and it blows concrete all over Bill's house, the neighbor's house, and over. Literally, at one time, the hose was higher than I was standing, and it went about 15 feet over here. And I thought to myself,
You're lucky you
what
didn't get
the
hurt.
Hell. Well, and before that, for some reason, I had the strap, the rope that you put the end of it with. I had it wrapped in my wrist, and for some reason, I'd undone that. It might have took my hand off. I had no idea. It would have hurt either way.
Yeah. I've only experienced that happening one time, and we fortunately had an experienced operator at the time. And he knew there was a high probability of that happening because they had air in the line, which is just like a big
You compress it.
Yeah, a shock, and the clog was in an elbow on the boom we couldn't get to, or at least we thought it was, and we took the tack line off the end of the boom, and he's facing away, and it was violent to say the least.
It is, and I've been doing this for over 13 years now. I have yet to replicate that situation.
You know, hindsight being 2020, it's probably good it happened where it did.
I'm glad it did.
Yeah, you weren't thinking that at the time.
No. But you know, it's my brother-in-law's house. We're not getting paid for the job. Nothing got damaged. Everything could get washed off.
More importantly, nobody got hurt.
It was great. A learning experience. We figured out what we did, but you know, we spent the rest of that summer, the rest of that fall and winter, learning how to pump this thing on everybody else's dime, essentially, kind of bluffing our way through these jobs.
Right.
Recession's starting to hit. To back up, we quit the band.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got all these T-shirts and koozies laying around. So look at Andy. So what are we gonna do with this stuff?
I love a plan.
Well, we just started a concrete pumping business. I guess it's just gonna be Muddy Feet concrete pumping
So did
business.
you go in and actually have concrete pumping re-screen printed underneath them, or you just
No,
in?
we rolled those out.
Oh, you just go in.
We rolled that out.
Gotcha.
You know, so
that
now
was new inventory.
Right. Oh yeah, we can't use those. I mean, I don't know any of the guys that want to wear those panties.
Yeah, I'll be in the not gonna wear category. Yeah,
I'm still curious to see who still got my footprints on their crotch. There's got to be a few of those still around.
That's a whole new meaning to stinky feet. You know.
Yeah, stinky leg. But
there's so many jokes. There's so many jokes.
Oh,
there.
you can run away with that like a four-way stop.
Like where's the big toe? You know,
right? Where'd that piggy go to?
Yeah. Guess not the market. All right, we're the train left the tracks. We gotta get her back on.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, but you know, there has to be some somewhere.
Right.
I don't think my wife still has hers.
I hope she don't listen to this podcast.
Not all of it. She'll get. But so we got the merchandise. We got koozies. We got shirts. We're passing them out.
So all you need is decals for this pretty pump you got.
We're good.
Yeah.
You know, Muddy Feet concrete pumping, and it just rings.
Yep.
You know, it just
well,
sounds good.
in the Muddy Feet, even though you're talking about mud whenever you started, I mean, people call concrete mud, so
Exactly.
it fits right together.
Exactly, and you know, your feet are muddy if you're into concrete.
Well, and it's a name that you remember. You know,
right.
I mean, our pump company back home is Edwards. It's, you know, it is what it is. It's not saying it's a good name or a bad name. It's the guy that owns the company's name. But Muddy Feet's, it's pretty catchy.
Yeah, it just works. It works with several ways, you know, but it's there. So, but eventually, I catch on to what's going on. Some jobs we're having a hell of a time, and some jobs we're not.
Right.
And eventually, I get to where I've got enough confidence in our ability. I got enough confidence in this pump and what we're doing that when something doesn't go right, I'm calling them out now.
Right.
Going, hey, you know, where's this somebody pumping? I'm sending your truck back. Oh yeah, it's what we sent you. I know it's what you sent me, but it ain't what I ordered. You know, and so and I even started using. I got a $45,000 lie detector here.
Yeah.
And you're lying your ass off to us. You know, I've got two guys over here with sledgehammers and.
Yeah. Batch plants. Most guys don't have any way to hold the batch plant accountable unless it's a big commercial job.
Right.
And I was the same way as you. Whenever I first started pouring, we'd pour 3 trucks out on the ground. One would finish completely different than the other 2. I'm not a real smart guy, but that one's not like the others.
Exactly.
You know, oh, well, the humidity was different. Oh, give me a freaking break.
No.
So, but to your point, I think that's a pretty common problem.
Well, and, you know.
Then you get them on these big commercial jobs and half their trucks get rejected and they're like, ooh.
Oh, right. And, you know, what are we supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
You know, thousands of dollars sitting there going different places. But,
but there's nothing wrong with their batch plant.
Right, exactly, yeah. Well, and that's where, you know, hiring Chris, I've learned a lot more with having him. But, you know, with that deal, so now we're you know, we got confidence, we're working. It's time to buy another pump.
Right. And you guys are still partners at this time.
We're still partners. I've got experience. Andy's got experience now. We got a couple of high school guys on the summers that'll help us. So we buy another pump. And we start going at that. And now the recession hits.
What year would this be, like 2008?
8, 9,
okay.
Right in that vicinity.
Yeah, that's whenever I decided it was a good time to start a business.
Exactly.
2008, yeah.
Exactly. Well, fortunately for Andy and I, we still had our full-time job. that give us the time
Right,
off. So
right.
we're scheduling around that. Well, we're doing good to get 2 jobs a week. So now the recession's hit. I'm looking around, and there's companies, they're falling off around us.
Yep.
And we're still sitting there. Well, I mean, we're living off our other jobs, obviously.
Right.
And,
But fortunately, you were lean enough and having small enough overhead.
we weren't used to making any money.
Yeah, you were used to being broke.
Exactly. So we're sitting there during this recession. We're still doing our 2 jobs a week, which is paying bills, and you know, it'll give you a little extra money every now and then if you hit maybe 2 on one day.
And you didn't have a breakdown.
What's that?
You didn't have a breakdown.
No.
Yeah.
And we had good equipment. Fortunately, we bought low-hour machines that weren't abused.
Yep.
So we had good equipment. On occasion, you know, we started learning about wear parts. Yep. We didn't know much about that. Well, you know, eventually you start, where the hell is that grout coming from? So you start learning about wear parts.
You're supposed to be in the pump, mister.
Right. So, and all that. And, well, it got to the point where the money just really wasn't there. I'm living here in the city. Andy's still living in Oconee with his wife now, and they're trying to have kids and stuff. You know, it's an hour and 15, 20 minutes down here or better. And it come to the point that he was just tired of making that drive all the time.
Right.
And
Kind of ran its course.
It did. And about that same time, Bill is getting tired of his job.
Which is the brother-in-law you blew concrete all over his house.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So he started going with me on some weekends. And he started gaining some interest, you know. And we picked up at times, and I said, you know what, Bill, it's up to you. But Andy wants out. I can buy him out. If you want to work, you come into work. And
Right.
Here you go. And next thing I know, Bill quits his job.
You're like, oh boy.
And he's got a wife and kids. Like, you talking about feel like you have some responsibility. At first, you know, I'm thinking, okay, I can survive with this, but just me and my family and pay my bills. But now I've got someone who's got a wife and kids that's 100% committed to me
Right.
now.
Yeah, I mean, indirectly, you're responsible for feeding somebody else's family.
Exactly. And that, to me, that's when it got serious.
Right.
When I know I've got someone now depending on me, it's like I said, I can handle it on my own.
Right.
But now I've got him, my sister-in-law, who's my wife and her sister,
Right.
and kid, and she worked too. But you know that was a reality check.
That was a big step.
It was.
I mean, I know it was a full-on legit business, but at this point, it went from a serious hobby to we're for real.
Yes, or you better be for real.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
And so, you know, I went to work on Bill, trying to get him everything that I knew about pumping, which is still very limited with 2.5 years experience on a trailer pump. And you know, I start cutting him loose on his own. You know, I'm by my phone if you need something, and you know, occasionally you get those problems, and I'm having to troubleshoot now. And I'm trying to figure out how what he's explaining to me, which isn't the same terms as mine.
His terminology, yeah.
And you know, but it's the same old story. You know, somebody overrocked something, man sand, whatever, and it just won't pump. You know, but everybody's
And
looking
a
at the
trailer
pump.
pump is so much more finicky than a boom pump.
They are.
I mean, there's
They are.
which is probably a good thing to learn on that, because you learn a lot of the nuances of the mix and different things that you may not have caught on to later.
Right. And that was the Bash Designs is what makes or break you.
Right.
I mean, you're either the hero of the day or you're not getting a phone call back again.
Right.
And it could be 100% not your fault.
Right.
But you're the man with the pump.
Right.
So, I could and I won't give some concrete companies credit for making me the pumper that Bill and I are, because they worked our asses over. and we did our best to save the jobs and save the pump and make sure everything didn't get lost and all that. And a lot of times it's just brute strength.
Yep.
To do that.
Just dig your heels in and make it happen.
Yep.
So Bill's on full time now. You got a trailer pump. So when did we venture into the? A step from a trailer pump to a boom truck is a big step.
It is. It's you know, financially, you know, buying used, I'm spending $100,000 more
Right.
than what I spent on my first trailer pump. And plus, fortunately, by then we're coming out of 2013, 2014, the era right in there. So we've been running 2 trailer pumps all this time, and making our mark for 8 years.
So Bill worked with you for a couple of years with a trailer pump.
About 6.
Now, Andy's gone. Is Bill a partner now, or is he just employee?
He's just employee.
So you're sole owner of
100% me.
and you got 2 trailer pumps and 1 employee and some gopher helpers.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And a lot of times it's just Bill and I.
Right.
I mean, he'd go out and lay his 150, 200 foot out, and I'd go out and lay my 150, 200 foot out and pump our jobs and
Meet back at the end of the day and
see what's left of us.
Gotcha.
Some days there's a lot, some days there's nothing.
So what pushed the decision to go down the pump route or the boom pump route? And I just wanted to explain what a boom pump is. It's a truck-mounted pump that has the whatever meter you choose to reach.
Exactly.
Remote controlled to place concrete.
Right. And you're not going to be tired at the end of the day by the time you
No,
pump 150
and a
yards.
trailer pump is mounted on a pickup truck or trailer, and the hose comes out the back, lays along the ground, and you kind of drag it around to place concrete. Just if anybody's wondering what the difference is.
Sure. And that's exactly right. So, and how I put the difference for me with a trailer pump and a boom pump is with a trailer pump, I'm physically tired at the end of the day.
Right.
You're wore out.
Because you down here pumping the slabs and stuff you're pumping a lot of the same jobs.
Right. And then, you're moving the hoses and bringing hoses back, clean them out, all that stuff. It's physical labor.
Right.
But when I run a boom pump, I'm physically fine. I'm great. Mentally, I'm tired.
Yep.
Because
A lot more thinking involved.
you are. Your eyes are
You got
at
a lot more controls than the on-off forward reverse.
and there's just so much more to the aspect of it. I mean, your eyes are focused on what the crews need, where the hose needs to be. Are you putting enough in there? Or are you getting too much? That's a big deal.
Yep.
And all this stuff. But your ears are pointed to the back. Yep. You're running these pumps with your ears. You're listening for the concrete truck because some driver didn't pay attention where you told him what the horn button is. That way he can honk the horn when he's out of mud. And what happens is if that doesn't happen, then you blow mud all over them.
Yep.
Because they're not hollering or saying anything. So you're listening to that. You're doing this, and mentally you're just working. You're working just back and forth between your eyes and your ears. So, but what got us into that was in 2014, 15. Bill's several years older than me, and it kind of makes me tear up sometimes. He stuck with me through those hard times.
Yeah.
And
He was the guy you could count on.
right.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
The best thing I could do is get him off that trailer.
Give him what you think he deserves
Right.
and what he'd earned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's put him on the book.
Right. Where he can continue to do his job with a lot less physical strain,
Right.
and you guys could also advance the business forward.
Right.
Which I know from your emotion, advancing the business forward wasn't as important to you as taking care of Bill.
100%.
Yeah.
With our little deal this morning, there's no way I'd fire Bill.
Right.
I'd fire myself
Right.
before I fired Bill. But
Well, and the deal this morning was, I guess Bill overslept basically.
his alarm
Which,
didn't, his phone didn't go
I
off.
mean, who hasn't?
Right. It doesn't happen at 7 a.m. But, at 2:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
you have to have a little bit of going. Well, shit,
Yeah.
it's 2:30 in the morning. So
But-
he didn't oversleep at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So, but, I just felt like that he needed that next step. We needed it as a pump company.
Right.
And I've got a lot of customers coming to us that like us and that are going, why don't y'all get a boom pump?
Yeah.
I'd use you all the time if you had a boom pump. So I've got all this going, just channeling me to going, go buy your first boom pump.
Right.
You've got this.
You got a lot of signs flashing saying, hey, it's a good idea.
Right. So, and that's what we did. And
Now, your first boom pump isn't what we see today on your channel.
it is not.
I've never seen it, but you said it was an MR Mac.
It's an MR Mac. It was a Concord. It was a 05 model. It's 2015. It's a 10-year-old truck. It got low hours on it. And honestly, the salesman, the salesman was a salesman for Alliance.
Really?
But he put me in a Concorde. You know, I hope I don't get him fired. I'm not going to name his name. But it was in their stable as a used pump. You know?
Gotcha.
So they were the broker of that deal. So we go
Well,
by this.
which I always encourage somebody, if you're getting into something you're not familiar with, you don't know what you need.
Right.
So, get a good used pump, get what you think you need, get your feet wet with it, and then 2 or 3 years down the road, if everything's going good, you know what you need at that point. So go order a nice new pretty one or whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Tear that up.
Yeah.
Before you tear
Yeah,
these up.
and there's options on those things that, well, I didn't know that's handy, or I never thought about that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
and that applies across tractors, trucks, pumps, equipment in general.
Yeah, and that's what we get this Concorde, 33-meter Concorde. And I wouldn't let Bill in it first. I'm gonna go pump it first,
Right.
and it's not for selfish reasons or anything else.
No, but
But here's the fact: if I go run this truck, or if Bill runs this truck and he has an issue, and I don't know a damn thing about this
Right.
truck, there's
nothing you can do.
nothing I can do. So I'm gonna go run it first. I ran it for 2 months, and Bill would come with me sometimes, but for most part I ran it. And then it comes to the point I'm all right. So
Yep.
I turn Bill loose, and
Your
that
baby.
way, if there's an issue, he calls me. What do you got? And we're able to work it out for the most part. But it gets to be one of those deals that, and we traded a trailer pump in also. So now we got one trailer pump, and one boom
Boom,
pump,
boom, pump.
and the demand just come up.
So your timing was impeccable.
I'm turning down work. I'm looking at and what made me think about that time was when you were talking about, you told Jenna you went and rented this piece of equipment that showed up at your house.
So for people who don't know, I'm notorious for buying stuff and not telling my wife.
Right.
And we actually had her on the podcast. She got to tell her side of the story. But if you guys didn't hear that one, I bought the 120, never told her. There was a bunch of other equipment I didn't tell her. But the one was a light tire for my go-kart track. And I knew she wasn't going to go for that because there's no way this thing's going to produce money, So I had a buddy that ran a rental company. She goes, "Where'd you get that from?" I said, "Oh, I got a hold of Aaron. He just let me rent it for the weekend for the go-kart race." "Oh, that's fine." Sat there for about a month, 2 months. She goes, "When's that thing got to go back?" I'm like, "It might have been a one-time rent-to-own deal."
Well, the same thing. My wife, she's, bless her heart, she just, she just, when you start throwing out big numbers, it makes her nervous. And so sometimes it's
All they see is the money going out.
Exactly. And it's, but I'm the one telling people I can't get to you.
Right.
I can't get to you every day. I'm telling people I can't get to you. I'm sorry. I might can make the time and work, but just hold on.
No promises.
Yeah. And it just came at us. We're buying another pump. I'm sorry.
So at this point, this is all pre-YouTube.
It is.
So you got whenever you see buying their pump, you're talking about your first boom truck, right?
Right.
I guess a couple questions on that. One, how long did you operate it? 2, was it a good truck? And 3, why'd you trade it in?
We ran the truck for a couple of years. It was an 05 model. We started in 2015, and it was around 2017 when we traded that truck in. I needed the equity out of that truck
Gotcha.
to trade in. I've been paying this great big payment for 2 years, built up quite a bit of equity. The second truck we got was an Alliance, 37 meters Z-boom Alliance truck, and I put Bill on that. That's where he's such a good operator on those Z-booms.
Yeah.
I stuck him on that. I kept running the rolling fold, and the main thing is because that 37 meter reached a lot more. So if I'm gonna sit a truck in the yard, I'm going to sit the shorter truck in the yard that's not making as much money.
Right. And just they can go to your channel to this, but the Z-boom and the roll and fold boom is different ways the boom is maneuvered,
It's
basically.
the configuration of how they fold up.
And they
how
both
you
got their
operate.
advantages and disadvantages.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I see on a slab, a Z-boom being a huge advantage. I see some issues with that on a wall pour.
Right.
Because some of the positions we get into, but either way, they both work. They both have their place.
And you get a good operator like Bill, you never know the difference.
Right.
You
right.
never. Now you get an operator like me, I think I owned that truck since 2017. I'm probably run it 10, 15 times.
Really.
It just Bill's on it.
Yep,
And I'm
that's
on this
his
one.
baby.
He, when he takes off, I'll go run it then, but it's just not a lot.
Right.
And that particular truck takes some confidence and just it just takes some skill.
Well, and back to your pumping concrete for Bill way back in the day, even with the boom truck. I mean, there's I don't know if I'll say there's a lot of safety hazards involved, but there's a lot going on.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
People don't understand. They'll have this slab sitting there, and they'll call you. You'll go out there, and that's where I've just learned. A lot of times it's just better off, especially if I know the area. I'm gonna go pre-site that job.
Yep.
And because you worry about there's 3 or 4 parts to doing to the job for a concrete pump. One is setting the truck up.
right.
If you don't set the truck up properly, safely, and all that, your day is not going to be a good day. All right. Number 2, then you got the operation of the truck. Number 3, cleaning the truck out and getting everything put back, and 4, getting it back to the house.
Right.
So, but each step you have to complete.
Right.
If you don't complete one of those steps, you've cost yourself a lot of time and money, and you could cost somebody some injury or even death.
Right.
And
just can't get complacent.
No.
And to your point about scoping out a job site, you get a guy to call you. Oh, you can get in this one easy, no problem.
Right.
Then you go out there and they never looked up and seen the overhead power line, or
That's happened.
It's stuff like that you gotta
Yes.
watch out for. So I guess here we are today, 2020. You got 2 boom trucks,
2 boom trucks,
1 trailer pump,
still 1 trailer pump.
and it's pretty much you and Bill.
It's Bill and I. We've hired. Chris is on with us now.
Okay. Now, does Chris operate a boom at all, or is
he operates the 38 meter.
Okay.
He's been with us a year now.
Gotcha.
And you can ask Chris. We just won't turn you loose.
Right.
I mean, Chris has got. You could probably add up all the years that Bill and I together of driving a truck with a CDL Class B, and Chris was probably got 3 times the experience of driving a truck. So I knew I didn't have to worry about that. And Chris is just full of common sense
Which
and knowledge.
honestly is half the battle sometimes.
It is. So I didn't have to worry about that. I just knew I had to get Chris to learn how to pump one. Chris went with Bill, I'm going to say 3 months. You 2 are together.
Yeah, just learn the ropes.
You 2 are together. And, Bill would, after a while, Bill would turn the remote over to Chris, let him run for a little bit, and then they were together.
And I will have to say, from my experience today, Bill's a very good teacher.
He's a natural, first of all.
Yeah.
And he's just good at it. So
I'm going to transition you in here a little bit before we run out of time, but somewhere in the mix of all this mess, you had this wild hair to start a YouTube channel.
I did. I got tired of watching ABC, CBS, NBC.
Which is kind of a good point, because in this era of 2020, the rave of reality TV on syndicated TV's kind of lost its punch, and YouTube and what we do has become true, real reality TV.
Well, I kept hearing about this blogging.
Yeah.
My wife was telling me about these bloggers on Instagram, this blogging stuff, and I didn't realize. I went to YouTube to watch a hill climb, a mud race, or I need to learn how to fix my washing machine. That's what I did, And every now and then, I finally caught on to some channels of the kind of just, I guess what you search, they start building this pattern for you, and
they know you better than you know yourself.
It's scary sometimes, because exactly, and I'm sitting there. Well, then I'm realizing, okay, this vlogging thing. It's catching. I'm seeing the farming stuff. I'm seeing. I'm coming across your channel. I'm coming across all these people, and so I thought, well, hell, I pump concrete.
Yeah.
There's somebody vlogging concrete pumping. So I put in concrete pumping. There's all kinds of videos. There's pumps falling over. There's all kinds of crap.
Some idiot in Indiana pumping icy
Yeah. And I'm just sitting there going, but nobody is consistently
doing the day,
putting their day-to-day operation on there.
And that's, I think you try to do a lot with your channel, as I try to do with mine, is show all aspects of the business of concrete pumping. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because again, like we talked earlier, pumping the job sometimes is the easy part.
It is. They don't know you go back to the house, you spend 30 minutes chiseling a hopper out.
Yeah.
Then you spend another 30 minutes greasing everything.
Yep.
checking all the fluids and all, or tearing one down and rebuilding it.
Yep.
Builders don't think that. They think, oh, that's easy money.
Yep.
You pull in, you pump, you go home, and you're done.
Which is what you thought that first time they came and pumped for
Exactly. That was the road I was looking for, and still am.
So I guess what's it been, about 2 years now you've been doing the channel? Not quite 2 years.
January. I posted my first video January 1st, 2019.
So you're coming up on 2 years.
Coming up on 2 years.
So you're a little shy of 2 years. You're 10,000 subscribers.
I'm about 200 short right
200
now.
short. So did you go into YouTube with expectations like, I'm going to meet some cool people, I'm going to make some money, I'm going to get this? I mean, or were you just doing it for a hobby?
My first thought was, because I've been on some concrete forums, pumping forums. My first thought was, we're fixing to get held on.
Right.
I mean, there's some stone throwers out there.
Oh yeah.
That was my first thought. And I finally built up enough courage, and I talked to Bill. We kind of went through some things. I showed him my first video I built.
Yeah, see, that's kind of ironic, because that's people think I'm crazy, but I could absolutely care less about that.
Right.
It truly bothers a lot of people, and I don't want to say it's because I'm confident in what I'm doing, but I'm confident that I know those people don't have enough information to have that comment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's where it comes from.
And you get a lot of that.
You do, but I don't want to make that. I don't want to use that to discourage anybody from starting a channel.
Right.
Because the flip side of that is you got 2 or 3 of those guys, and you got hundreds of some awesome people.
Exactly. And that was the thing. I mean, my wife was discouraging at first. She was like, I see my
We have another thing in common.
Yeah, she sees she calls them her friends, Instagram people, and then she sees people, bad mouthing them or whatever,
Right.
and she's like, you're not gonna be able to handle that very well. I'm going, well, it's the internet, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, you know what, I made my first video, and I had a few more, and I give it a full send.
Yep.
Here we go. Slung it out there. It was a trailer pumping video. It was a company that I pump for every day. They were okay with it. Send it. Let's go. And it was pretty positive with that first video.
Yep.
I was pretty happy with the reaction to it. And so from there, I just waited
I think my
out there.
first video I posted sat there for maybe a week and possibly got 100 views.
Right.
So
and I can't tell you what we did on
I'm
the
sure
first
you
one.
outdid me.
I have no idea.
I think it's because it was a Farmer Chris job. I probably should have picked a better one for my first job.
Oh, well, you try to rely on friends for the do the
Well,
best
yeah,
thing. But for most part, it's like you said. Probably 99% of the time, everything's positive.
Oh, yeah,
It's great, and you do get some folks. And I'll tell you, I'll tell people, leave comments how you would do this setup. We might be doing something kind of funky and kind of out of the norm. Leave your comments. I'm interested to know. I learn from my channel, and I want people to learn from my channel.
I don't care if you're the expert in your field. There's somebody out there who knows something about it that you don't, and you got to be open-minded to that.
Absolutely, and I am, because I have gotten comments that seem like a smart-ass comment.
Yep.
And then I'll go digging, and one of them was in Australia. This guy's from Australia, and he threw out a smart-ass comment. I go, okay, let's see what this guy's made of.
Yep.
So I peck along at him, and next thing you know, we're best friends. But that's just the way it goes.
Yep.
He's thinking the way when we pour the water in the elbow, we pull the sponge back, then we're going to plug the pump up trying to get the sponge back. It hadn't happened yet. And I'm like, you know what? That's the way you do it. That's the way we do it.
Yeah,
It works
I noticed
for
that's
us.
one thing different than all the pumps back home is they take the ball, dip it in the water, they clean the edge of the elbow off, and they send her.
Right.
They don't put the water in it.
Right.
Everybody's got their reasons for whatever, but just because it's the way they do it back home and the way you do it, it don't mean either one of you is wrong.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. And you're right.
It's just kind of the way it goes. So, I guess my next question is overall. YouTube's been a positive thing for you and your business, hasn't it?
It has. We've gathered business up because of it. We've met some wonderful people.
Yeah. Whenever my neighbor at Logger Way talked me into it, that's the first thing he told me is the best thing about YouTube is the people you meet, and he was not wrong.
No. We have, and I've got plans to go overseas to meet some of the people that have been with me really since day one,
Right.
making comments, talking about it.
Yep.
You know,
They
and
become your friends.
well, and I call them pen pals. I mean, because a lot of them, I just go, you know what? It's easier for you to contact me on Instagram. So we'll talk on Instagram quite a bit. And so the first place I want to go to is Ireland.
Yep.
There's a guy over there in Ireland named Johnny Terrell, and he's in Dublin, and he's a line pumper. And I want to go over there and spend a few days with him.
Wouldn't it be fascinating to see how different their concrete mix is?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, even though he's across the pond, his gripes are my exact same
Yeah,
ones.
it's crazy, isn't it?
Too rocky, way too much man sand, and not enough Portland.
Yeah.
But it's just opened up doors with you know, I honestly feel just blessed. You know, that's just the only way I can put it. Meeting the people I've met so far, and just and having people reach out to us and doing that, it just means a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's I don't know. It's hard to explain or categorize the relationships you build because they're so involved with what you do, and they know so much about what you do, even though you never met them or never seen them. They're friends. They're part of the family.
Right.
It is what it is. So.
Right.
And I think I cannot prove this fact. I have no way to prove this. But I am 90% confident I was your 1,000th subscriber.
Well, it was close enough that I'm pretty sure we can just say you were.
All right, I'm going to take the title. So, yeah, it just the random how the world works. I was sitting down at my desk one day and scrolling through looking for something, and I seen, I forgot what your thumbnail was, but it was something with concrete pumping. And I seen you had 999 subscribers, so I went on there and subscribed, and I typed congratulations. Don't think I even watched your video, to be honest with you. I just
hit it.
I just hit it, and then you replied back to me or something, and I thought I think it was a couple, maybe a week or two later, you actually posted a video of pouring the floor inside an ICF structure.
Right.
And it was Nudura because I noticed.
And I was
block.
like, "What the hell's Nudura?"
Yeah.
I know what ICF
So
is.
I think that's the first video I actually watched, and then I got to watching a few more, and then we got to talking, and it's just crazy how it all works out.
I mean, and the thing is, I've been doing it for 13 years. We put a camera on us, and I'm seeing stuff I've never seen before
Yeah.
happen.
Yep.
You know, I pull out to a job site that's got 4 trucks stuck. Now they're wanting me to pull my truck in and pump all these trucks that are stuck, and I'm 8,000 pounds lighter than they are.
Not enough to make a difference.
And then, you know, and the next thing you know, Bill puts the camera up on an outrigger leg to go back trucks up and pump. And it's in a part that I would have edited completely out because it's just looking out the wide up the road at nothing. And the next thing you know, there's a concrete truck backing up and it slides off the side of the road. I mean,
What's the
dumb
chance?
luck.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an angle that we would never ever use the way that camera was pointing.
And the fact that he even kept the camera rolling, you know, didn't hit
Right.
the button off.
You know, and honestly, I mean, Bill, for the amount of subscribers we have, he's responsible for a lot of them.
Yep.
You know, because that day with that truck coming over and turning over, we caught lighted in a jar.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it's a
that was
moment
our
you're
big,
going to.
That was our big.
It's a
deal.
moment that you. It's a once in a lifetime moment to capture.
It was.
Yep.
And I hope it never happens again. But we caught it.
Right.
You know, and that's just one of those deals that. How lucky was that?
It's a little bit of vindication back to the batch plant. I have great relationships with my batch plant, if you can't tell.
And I tell you, and I talked to a guy the other day, and I do. I text a lot of them or call them, tell you know what, that job pumped great.
Yep.
Thank you, because I know they don't hear that.
No.
You know, I'm willing to bet you probably haven't called them and said, "Man, that job worked great. Thank you guys." I mean, you probably had to
I
have a
would if I
handful of
had one.
Go think it went well.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But you damn sure called them if it went bad.
See,
if they're late or whatever.
The main, the batch plant operator is my wife's uncle.
Oh.
And we never get concrete on time. So one year for Christmas, I got him a watch.
With a fresh battery.
I did. It didn't help.
No.
No.
But you know, people don't compliment when they need to be complimented, and more times than not, they need to be
Yeah,
complimented.
and in all seriousness, yes, we've like one batch plant. They've got some. I pour mostly walls. They have some awesome. Their ICF mix is bar none over any of their competitors around there. The other batch plant has better flat mix, flat work mix.
But you're gonna be actually trialing and finishing.
Yeah, the characteristics of concrete are just so vast. I mean,
and you wouldn't think that. I mean, batch designs are created by engineers. Most everybody has a lot of the same batch designs.
Right.
But when you start adding the materials, the type of sands, the type of rocks, even the type of cements, there
Right.
there are different couple types there.
Yep.
It just changes the whole dynamics. So.
Well, Jeff, I think we'll get ready to wrap this up. I guess what would be in closing, any highlights from YouTube? Any advice for somebody who wants to get into YouTube or into business or pumping in general? Or
Well, I try to stay away from the advice on the pumping in general because it's really wide open.
Right.
I mean, you have to fit yourself to what the situation is. As far as YouTube goes, creating a channel and doing that, patience.
yeah,
That's a big
yeah,
one.
that's a big one. We did a podcast on this. I think it's up already, and my take on it is, if you're going to do YouTube, you need to do it for a year to find out for sure if it's going to be successful or not. The chances of you being an overnight success are probably slim to none.
It happens, but
Right.
just don't expect it.
And honestly, I don't think you want it to happen because that's not good long-term exponential growth for the channel.
Well, and like I said, a lot of these guys, Johnny, there's a guy in New Zealand, Lindsay Harper. There's these guys that have been with me since day one, essentially. And they comment on almost every video. And, they're right there with me. So.
All right, well, good deal. Sitting here today, you're just a few short from 10,000. So hopefully by the time this
Could use a little boost.
hopefully by the time this podcast come out, you're somewhere around 15,000. So that'd be absolutely awesome. I just want thanks for having us down. We're having a blast down here.
Because of YouTube, y'all are here.
Yep,
And because
absolutely.
of our fan base, y'all are here.
Yep.
So.
But we appreciate it, and yeah, thanks for everything. Maybe if you guys want us to cover something else, I'm sure we'll be together again at some point. So
I hope so. So.
we appreciate it, Jeff.
Well, thank you.
And guys, we shall catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening.